starting off with that vacant job at Spurs because according to the bookies, Antonio Conte is now odds on to take charge ahead of Mauricio Pochettino. Gab, I want to start with you. This obviously has snowballed somewhat over the last 24 hours. Is there any sort of truth to it?
Well, I think the indication is that there is. I mean, the key to this is that Fabio Paratici, who is Juventus's director of football still, his contract expires at the end of the month, and we'll find out more because he's addressing the media tomorrow. He's leaving his job at Juve. He's been strongly linked to Tottenham. Tottenham have spoken to him, and part of the idea would be that Paratici would be the man to help bring over Antonio Conte as well. Now, Paratici may come even if Conte doesn't, but the idea is the two, of course, worked together when Conte took over at Juve for those 3 years when they won 3 straight titles. And the idea is that Conte would be into it. Conte enjoyed himself when he was in the Premier League. Of course, he won the league with Chelsea, won the FA Cup the following year. Now, there's some big hurdles here. One is Conte's salary. You'll recall that when he left Inter, he was paid half of his final year's wages straight up as sort of a leaving present, if you will. And the other one is Conte, as ever, loves the word project. And, you know, it's going to be about who can they sign, what their budget is. And I think the appeal to Spurs is also that they think that a big-name manager like Conte might help persuade Harry Kane to drop his idea of going elsewhere to win things as a team.
Jurgen, as the Spurs representative on the panel, I feel drawn to you. I understand why Antonio Conte ticks all the boxes for Spurs, but why would he go there?
Yeah, I mean, I was really disappointed by his decision, obviously, to leave Inter at a moment where, you know, Inter had stability. Obviously, they won the Italian Scudetto, the championship. It was a tough year for him there because they lost in the Champions League, an Italian Cup, and then his decision kind of came as in a moment where actually everybody really was happy in Milano. The people were happy. They thought, okay, now we're going to get kind of more stability and we go into the next year and we attack Europe. That was the overall kind of sentiment in Milano by all the Inter fans. And so that's how it looked like. But then he decided, obviously, differently and he walks out. And now he walks, if he would walk, let's say, to London, flying, obviously, and would take that job. I mean, it's really difficult to comprehend because Spurs, at the end of the day, had a catastrophic year. I mean, they were looking so strong in the beginning of the season. They were even in first place, and things were looking really full of sunshine in London and North London. And then it turned into a nightmare the entire season. And now, obviously, you know, they try to figure out what's the next step, and going now to Antonio Conte, who comes from winning a championship in Italy. Yeah, that kind of makes sense, but I just cannot understand Conte's decision in the first place to leave Inter.
Jules, let's take a look at this scenario about how it might play out. Conte comes in, sell Harry Kane for 150 million. There it is. There's your war chest. You spend that as you like. Get us up the table, battling with the big boys. Or is it Antonio Conte comes in, puts an arm around Harry Kane and says, look, I can get the best out of you?
I think you start with the second option and you try to keep him because, as we've seen, and it's the same for every manager, you need a superstar striker really if you want to win things. And even if you sell Harry Kane, good luck to replace him with someone as good as him or even with the potential to become as good as him anytime soon. So you try to keep him if that doesn't work, and if really he wants to go, he's desperate to go, and you get the offer from Manchester United or Manchester City or whoever else, then you already think about reinvesting that money, replacing him with who, and you try to go for who you think is the best. We saw with Romelu Lukaku the amazing work really that Antonio Conte has done this season in Inter. So there's no reason why he could not do the same maybe with someone else replacing Harry Kane. But I'm sure that the first option first move will try to keep him at the club.
Yeah, and if I'm Conte, I'm thinking, well, why the rush? You know, I've had a lovely payoff, as Gab mentions, to say goodbye at Inter. Why am I in such a hurry to get back into management, especially a team, let's not forget, who isn't going to be fighting for the league next season and isn't in the Champions League?
Because most coaches have God syndrome. They miss themselves all the time. They want to be back, and that's what their passion is all about. And we'll see how many vacant jobs there are available, also for the big names. He did fantastic in London when he was there with Chelsea. The thing with Conte is quite interesting. We're only talking about Conte going for Tottenham, but it's also worthwhile discussing why is Tottenham going for that kind of manager. I mean, they just had Mourinho. I'm not comparing Mourinho with Conte, but Conte is at his worst. He is very depressing. And Tottenham, they need someone who kind of mirror their way of thinking, that kind of club that they are. I mean, I'm interviewing Conte sometimes, and I'm just felt when I've done the interviews, I have to call someone to if he's okay. And so I think that Tottenham should start with what kind of club they want to be. And the consequences of that will be to get that manager type that they need. And you say that Kane want to win things. Well, things are trophies. And Tottenham is so far away from trophies at the moment. They have to build that up. They took Mourinho in to win things. Well, things didn't happen, did they?
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.